But first, a debate.
Yeah.
Bronny James, where will he go tonight in the 2024 NBA Draft? Might it be Los Angeles? We wanted to hear from you. It's time for Fade the Public. Smooth, Friezo.
Yeah.
Our producer pulling double duty today. Joe Friezo also on the sticks.
No, wait,
as
what
our
was the
technical director.
what was the big deal with that, though?
He said he wasn't great at stinger animation, so
We have it every day, though. Who does it then?
Matt Malalam, who does a great job but has the day off.
Wow.
We're here together in studio in New Jersey.
Friezo struggling back there. Tough scene.
That's not what I said, by all accounts. Come on, man. His mom watches every day.
Hey, Mom. What's up?
Yours or Friezo's?
Everybody's mom.
Right.
Come on now. Hello.
Here we are into hour number 3. The question at SportsGrid on Twitter: will the Lakers draft Bronny James in the second round of the 2024 NBA Draft? Simply put, yes or no. More than 200 votes. Yeah. The people want to have the Bronny James conversation, and about 58% say yes. Bronny James will be drafted by the L.A. Lakers tonight in round number 2. Which way did you vote, Neil?
I voted yes, and also bet that way, too, to put a little bit of money behind. Now, here's the issue I'm having with this, right? Because you're just trying to forget about if you have insider information or not. Let's just say most people don't at this point. We could say definitively, hey, look, I talked to Rich Paul last night. It's Lakers or nobody. You can just lay the house on it. It was at that price, plus 100 last week, before we started to see his actual draft status on the move from 40.5 up to that mid-50s. Now that we see that here at the FanDuel Sportsbook, we'll see if that bet comes back today. Yeah. But having said that, it's one of those bets where I didn't put a lot of money down, but if it does turn, I'm like, why didn't I bet more money on that? Do you know what I mean? But like, it just feels like all you've been hearing all along is it's going to be the Lakers. He's not a sought-after player in the draft. You want to keep your top player, maybe the top player in the NBA, happy in LeBron James. So you're going to draft him. It doesn't matter where it is. It's just going to the Lakers. But then again, it's one of those going like, well, that's why I only put about maybe, let's just say, $25 to $50 on that wager, because it turns out that the Orlando Magic trade up in the one to get him, and all behind the scenes, Bronny goes, yeah, you know what? It didn't have to be the Lakers. I just wanted to go to a team where it is going to fit my needs. Yeah. But I just feel it has to be Los Angeles, because the one thing we talk about with L.A. too, it is star power. Say what you want. This is a draft where a player, some people are saying, shouldn't be drafted, but is getting the majority of the talk time because of how big a star he is. And also, opening night, if Bronny James is on the Lakers, even if he doesn't play, it's a great talking point that every station, including ours, is going to talk about.
And let's talk about those talking points. The first 2 odds that you could bet in the NBA draft, who would be the number 1 overall pick, and where would Bronny James go? And the Lakers were the favorites even then. Right before the draft started last night, still no updated second-round prices on the FanDuel Sportsbook. We hope those come out in the next few hours. Bronny James was favored to go to L.A., not even at even money, at minus 165. His draft position prop, the over-under, 54.5, and the over has the juice at minus 158. Conveniently, betting the over would lead you to the Lakers, who draft 55th overall. The Suns do have the second best price to draft Bronny James. They have the 56th pick tonight after trading yesterday, as Denver moved up to 22nd to get Deron Holmes, and Phoenix moved back at 28th. They drafted Ryan Dunn and now have pick number 56 tonight. You see the numbers. It's been a conversation piece all along. People wondering about the prospect of Bronny James. Could the player compete on this next level in the association after only 25 games and, frankly, a disappointing season at USC? Of course, he dealt with the medical condition and the cardiac arrest that happened during summer workouts a year ago as he was getting ready for his freshman campaign at Southern Cal. So only 25 games in his freshman season, just averaging shy of 5 points per game. But let me say this. College stats and production is not the only reason a player is selected in the NBA draft. A.J. Johnson, who went 23rd last night, who was or is from the States, originally committed to Texas, played in the NBL, in the Australian Professional Basketball League, averaged less than 8 minutes per game in only 26 games, and averaged 2 Points per game. Look at those stats. And that guy was a first-round pick.
Yep.
This is not slander of A.J. Johnson. Of course, the Milwaukee Bucks feel confident in the projection and the development of this prospect. That's where Bronny James can have the same sort of consideration if we get past the name.
Now, also, we're taking a look at, and these are random circumstances. Just say not random circumstances. Rich Paul's put this out here. Usually when you get a second-round pick, it's easier for the NBA team to go, okay, we're going to pick a guy with some upside here. We need to develop him. So he's going to get a two-way contract, which means if he comes into training camp in September, lights it up, he's going to be on the basketball team under an NBA contract. But he can also be sent down to the G League, which means he can get his playing time in and feel much more comfortable and work on his game. Rich Paul's put it out there that, yeah, if he's going in the second round, it doesn't matter. He's getting a one-way contract to the NBA, which puts a lot of teams' business saying, well, we probably could have taken him here and see if it would have worked out, but we don't have room in our roster to guarantee an NBA contract or maybe even like a team like a Knicks. You're looking to shed some of that weight. Hey, we'll take Bronny James in round number 2. Oh, no, he's going to be on the NBA roster. He's going to count right away against the salary cap. That's what I'm interested to see, where that path, it just feels like the Lakers would be willing to say, yes, 15th man on the roster, guaranteed NBA contract, make it happen here is going to be with his father. That's where all signs are pointing for me.
Or somebody like the Knicks, perhaps, or picks 31 through 54 causes a little chaos on night number 2 of the NBA draft, and they select Bronny James, either, as JY put it, to force the hand of LeBron James and the LA Lakers, or maybe they believe in Bronny James. And LeBron has said all along, in the last 5 years, how he wanted to keep playing into his 40th year on this earth to have the chance, just the opportunity to play in an NBA game alongside his son, Bronny James. If he doesn't go to L.A., with LeBron being a free agent this offseason, but all accounts, 99.9999%, he is going to re-sign in Los Angeles, would he consider the idea of going somewhere else? And then the prospect of Bronny James is only amplified. But again, as the public is saying, nearly 58%, and as the odds makers would agree with a minus 165 number, more than likely, Bronny James is going to Los Angeles. The Lakers have the number 55 overall pick. The draft position prop was 54 and a hook for Bronny James at close yesterday. That is what I believe will happen. And DRS, what is so fascinating about now night number 2, again, for the first time since 1989, we have a 2-night event for the NBA draft. We have attention to be paid to this second round. And that's not a shot at any of the prospects that are still on the board, like a Kyle Filipowski, a Tyler Kolek, or anybody else. But Bronny James was the story, or one of the main stories of the NBA draft even before the opening round, and he still is available entering round number 2.
Yeah, and also, with something you equate it, like to say, to the NFL draft, where they put like the stars up there, they get their own little montage. Bronny James has a montage on ESPN, and we knew he probably wasn't going in round number 1. Here's the interesting part about the business of it. Let's just say, and I use this team just for fictitious terms, your Orlando Magic draft them in the second round, and they go, okay, we're not going to give you a one-way deal. We're going to call your bluff. Well, like Bronny James, most players coming like, look, I need the paycheck. I got to get my career started. Bronny James plays or doesn't play in the NBA. He is going to be fine, set for life. It's no big deal. So that would add intrigue. And also, I don't even know where the options go. If it's like, he's only getting a one-way deal, no, we're giving him a two-way. Does he go back in the draft next year? Does he play overseas at that point? There's so many fun angles to take a look at. But you know what the funnest angle is? Making some money here and having them just drafted to the Lakers. So we all can cash in some tickets.
It was an even money price earlier this week. It was at close last night before the opening round, minus 165. Will we see that updated number and price before round number 2? That remains to be seen. But the odds elsewhere around the association have updated. We'll talk about it next. It's 31 through 58. That's round number 2 of the 2024 NBA draft. We will continue our SportsGrid NBA draft special coverage live right here later this afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern time, is when round number 2 is set to get underway from New York City. Kevin Walsh, James Young, Scott Farrell, and Mike Carver all have a hand in the coverage. We get you set for the second round. Bronny James is going to be the main talking point. And I do want to finish with one thing about Bronny James and just kind of round number 2 in general. You've heard me say this a few times. 1989, that's when the NBA draft condensed to only 2 rounds. So in the 35 years since, we have only seen 21 total second-round selections make an NBA All-Star team. Most notably in the last decade, guys like Nikola Jokic, who was the 41st overall pick back in 2016, or Draymond Green for the Golden State Warriors. Some second-round selections that you well know around the association. All of that to say, not many of the picks here in the second round will amount to being an all-pro, an all-star, somebody who makes a notable contribution to their organization. And that's okay, which also means, DRS, if the Lakers do use their second-round pick on Bronny James, it's not a disaster missing out on draft capital.
No, and that's exactly the point here. I think you could feel even better about Bronny James to the Lakers because you got somebody that you probably did not think was available in round number 1, an immediate impact player, which can soften the blow to say, okay, we can take a flyer in the second round. Even though we always thought Bronny James was probably going in the second round, there's no pressure to say, ooh, we whiffed, or I'm not going to opt into my contract unless my son is a first-round draft pick here, like some ungodly pressure that LeBron James might have put on the front office for the Los Angeles Lakers. So I think it's a perfect scenario for Bronny James in the second round here to go towards the Lakers. But if we are looking at some of those players that are available, I want to ask you this question because one guy that popped up continuously on most of these mock drafts was Tyler Kolek. Was there a reason why he's slipping?
I don't know.
He was a wonderful college basketball player that you figure plug and play in the NBA.
So that's part of it. And let me just correct myself, by the way, before we dive into Nikola Jokic, drafted in 2014, not in 2016, famously or infamously during a Taco Bell commercial. That will probably not be the case tonight because it is a two-night event now in the NBA draft. Tyler Kolek, the 2023 Big East Player of the Year, one of the best point guards in the country. So influential to everything Marquette wanted to do the last few seasons. That, of course, a season ago, not this previous season, but now 2 years, 2022-23, ended in a Big East regular season title and tournament title under Shaka Smart. But they were still a 2 seed this past year in the NCAA tournament as well. I really thought, Donnie, and there were some other spots last night for our draft special that featured odds of Kolek being the favorite to be the number 23 overall pick, which is what the Bucks had. Maybe it was just the Milwaukee connection that made it seem like a natural transition for Kolek, but also the idea that Milwaukee needs backcourt depth and somebody to place behind Damian Lillard as that backup point guard. Instead, they go for A.J. Johnson, the development project out of Australia. I'm not entirely sure why he has slid, but many considered him on the cusp of the first round. If he's drafted in the first 5 picks tonight, I wouldn't consider it the greatest upset or the greatest slide we've ever seen in the NBA draft.
Yeah, no, and I just wanted to make that because this was one of the guys that with Marquette throughout the regular season, a lot of people were saying, like, you know what, I might spend some money here on a futures wager on Marquette to win. And then even more intriguing when he got injured was, what are we going to get back? Because on a day-to-day basis when we were breaking down the Big East tournament, it was like, ooh, I wonder if he's going to come back. And even John Rothstein coming on the program, like, you know what, I think they're going to hold him out to the big dance.
Yeah.
And then you were still trying to say, well, if I get regular season healthy Kolek, I might be getting a discount on that. So he's one of those players that can certainly drive, that can score, can distribute, and also obviously shoot it. I thought it was interesting.
The Bucks back on the clock with the third pick of this second round, 33rd overall. Maybe they would go to the veteran after taking the project in A.J. Johnson if he still is available. The biggest slide out of the opening round, that was Kyle Filipowski, who was in the green room last night in Brooklyn. Never easy to be in the green room when you're expected.
Where was he, though? In the not in the green room, but where was he projected to go? Like, what were most people
So
saying?
other sportsbook operators, we love the FanDuel Sportsbook, but other sportsbook operators had his draft position prop at 23.5.
Wow.
And the over had the juice. So the over had the juice, so 24 or later, but not into the second round, probably late there in the first round. And in fact, the New York Knicks, who were originally slated to draft 24th and 25th, Flip was the favorite to go in both of those spots. Not a minus money favorite, around a plus 450 or 5-1 number, but there was some thought, even conversation here with Kev and JY, that would make sense for the Knicks. Of course, financial restrictions not allowing the New York Knicks to do that. So Kyle Filipowski, uncharacteristically, still on the board. Again, I think he hears his name called early tonight. Probably pick 31, maybe pick 32. The Raptors first up, followed by the Jazz.
Yeah, no, it should be interesting to see where he goes at that point. But it's always, there's risers and there's fallers in every draft. And certainly it's tough seeing because you're sort of graded on, where am I going to go and what you can tell your friends about. But also, it's that guaranteed contract, man. You slip into the second round. Yes, you could still get a two-way contract or you can get that one-way deal. But now you take a look at also, you know what you love, Ben? the chip on the shoulder guys.
Yeah.
Coming in to say, you know what, I thought I was better than where I was drafted. Let me prove it to my new organization, and we'll find out if that matters here with him as well.
So another guy that was in BK last night, Johnny Furphy, who, if you look at him, maybe doesn't look like an NBA player just yet, but he's young, out of Australia, played 1 year in Lawrence at KU, became a national sensation on the first Saturday of February in the top 5 tilt inside the fog against Houston. He put up 17 points, hit 3 triples. He is an undeveloped project, but a great shooter and does have that upside here in round number 2. A couple of other college names that you might have heard: Adembona, the big man out of UCLA. Bobby Klintman, who has an interesting draft prospect career, played 2 seasons ago collegiately here in the States at Wake Forest. Last year, the native of Sweden goes to the NBL, the professional league in Australia. He will probably hear his name called in the first 5 of the second round tonight.
Yeah, no, a lot of these dreams are going to be made tonight. And also, it's going to be a topsy-turvy second round because it's not as if there's a ton of players and name players that are left over from that first round that you have to jump on. But also, I find it interesting, which we get a kick out of in the NFL, Ben. Round number 1, okay, it's a big sprint. Same way it used to be in the NBA where all the numbers of first round and second round were due in one night. Now you have that chance to take a look at that board. How many trades are we going to get today where you have some time to digress and say, you know what, let's make a move for this kid?
And only 28 picks tonight, not the full 30 like we saw last night, as the Sixers and the Suns have both forfeited a second-round selection. So pick 58. The storylines tonight, the best prospects still out there, and where does Bronny James land? How about the Rookie of the Year odds? They're out now. We'll talk about them next. The odds are now out for NBA Rookie of the Year in the 2024-25 NBA season. So, DRS, it was a battle for who would be number 1 overall, who would be selected first. Zachary Rizachet goes to Atlanta in front of his fellow countrymen, also out of France, Alex Sarr, who was the favorite at one point in the expected number 1 overall pick, as the Hawks earned that during the NBA draft lottery, and of course, the ping pong balls bouncing in their favor. But Sarr never worked out in Atlanta. Rizachet became the hefty favorite to go first overall. He did. Sarr falls to 2, and he goes to Washington. But just because Rizachet went first does not mean that everybody believed that Rizachet was a better prospect or would have a better NBA career than Alex Sarr. And we see that reflected ever so slightly in the odds to win Rookie of the Year. Sarr opens as the favorite on FanDuel at plus 450, $1.50 in front of Rizachet, who has the second best number at 6-1.
Yeah, here's the interesting part about it this year, which again we didn't get last year. We thought it would be a runaway here for the Rookie of the Year, and rightfully so. And Victor Wembanyama started out a little bit slow, if that can be kind there, and was tremendous the rest of the way. But also, you had that sort of outside influence for a player in Chet Holmgren for OKC, who didn't play the year before, but then stepped in. So it was quite fun to see 2 of those guys go toe to toe. This seems, Ben, so wide open at this point of who's going to win it.
Sure.
Now, granted, in order to win a Rookie of the Year, what do you need? Opportunities. It can't be like if you say to yourself, well, I think Konek's going to be the steal of the draft. Well, is Konek going to be a starter in the Lakers lineup averaging 19 points a game?
Right.
Probably not. So it's hard to win Rookie of the Year from that facet when you picture some of these guys on worse basketball teams just looking to make their way around. So I take a look at Sarr and Rizachet. Obviously, those 2 guys are the favorite, but you don't put out guys like Castle, even Buzelis. The problem is, I'm not too familiar with these guys because the last couple of years, you usually have that bona fide number 1, the superstar coming into the league. As long as they're healthy and playing 65 games, they get it. This year, boy, oh boy, and the odds reflected here. There's a lot of players between 20-1 or less with a legitimate chance to win this. Should be a fun year.
Historically, a couple of things to note. Even before the 2023 NBA draft, Victor Wembanyama was close to a $2 favorite to win NBA Rookie of the Year. Those prices shifted just a little bit throughout the NBA campaign, jostling with Chet Holmgren of the OKC Thunder, but ultimately Wembanyama with a great home stretch of his rookie campaign, despite the Spurs struggling and only winning 22 games, won NBA Rookie of the Year and became a very heavy odds-on favorite once again to win that hardware. Even before the NFL draft, Caleb Williams was the favorite to be the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year before he was drafted first overall. These odds were not out until the end of last night's opening round. In DRS, you mentioned not knowing some of these names, so it's hard to project really how they are going to perform in the association in their first year. This was the second consecutive season a non-U.S. college basketball player was drafted first overall. Victor Wembanyama last year, Zachary Rizache this season. The first time that's ever happened in NBA draft history. 2 consecutive years of a non-U.S. college basketball player from 2010 to 2022. It was a U.S. college freshman after completing his first year in collegiate hoops, making his way to the NBA. But I do still believe there is some value out there. Steph Castle, could we see back-to-back San Antonio Spurs when NBA Rookie of the Year? He went 4th last night at plus 750. Modest Buzelis on a slide down to Chicago at the 11th overall pick, but the 4th best price at plus 850. I think Reed Shepherd has value at 10-1. And listen, maybe I have a soft spot in my heart for the guys that battle down in the post, the big men. 12-1 on Zach Edey, 9th overall selection to the Grizzlies. And the guy that I think is the best pro prospect out of this draft class, who will have the best NBA career, Donovan Clingan, 20-1. Portland, 7th overall pick. I think there's a lot of value on the big man from UConn.
I mean, shout out to the handicappers on this one, that if you're doing deep dives on these players and know exactly what you're talking about. Because for me, I'm just looking at names here and what I've seen out of college basketball and saying, oh, I guess Sarr and Risache are going to be very good. But if you know, you might like, we're only taking a look at some of those guys at 20-1. There might be other guys in this class that really step up that you can get a great number on. Because as I said, typically it's paint by numbers in Rookie of the Year. It's going to be a guy that's drafted number 1, number 2 overall because they were superstars in the international game like Victor Wembanyama, or just a great player in the NCAA game at this point. So if you are a true handicapper, you probably absolutely love this Rookie of the Year setting.
We'll see what Rob Dillingham's role is in Minneapolis. He's also 20-1. He can put up a lot of points. Cody Williams, 10th overall pick to Utah, 20-1. Ron Holland, who went 5th overall to Detroit, a young roster there, 20-1. Isaiah Collier does not have a spot on the FanDuel Sportsbook odds for the NBA Rookie of the Year award, but in other areas, I know our guy OK Dubs thinks he was a tremendous pick at 29th overall.